If I had to sum up today's entire video in a single word, it would be disheartening. There's nothing worse than the story in which the bad guys win and then the credits basically roll, but unfortunately that's exactly what's happened here. There's a K-pop group called riize featuring this member named Seunghan, and he's been embroiled at the center of a controversy that has been going on for over a year now, in which a very vocal portion of riize's fan base didn't want him there because they were mad at him for the stupidest of reasons. But unfortunately, this has all come to a head recently because they finally got what they want. Seunghan is fine, but he's no longer with the group. And I think the story of how this all came about really needs to be discussed more, because despite the insanity of the behavior involved, it's actually gotten very little media coverage. But first, welcome. My name is D'Angelo, and I am your professor of parasocioeconomics, which is a very real degree that I definitely do have, or maybe this is just me broadcasting myself, talking in my room like YouTube used to be. And in today's lecture, we get to cover something I don't usually look at too much. I know the world of K-pop has tons of interesting stories, but it's not something I usually look up. But even I, who is sort of disconnected from all of this, still found out about this, because a lot of people are working hard to inform everybody about what's going on here. So here's what happened. So when the boy band riize was introduced to the world, they had 7 members. And that time between the announcement of a group and their official debut is a big deal in K-pop. That's when people get to know their members, the backstory, and decide who's their favorite. And one of these members was 21-year-old Seunghan. He's 21 now, but actually when this controversy started, he hadn't even turned 20 yet. So different K-pop groups have what are called concepts. You have groups where they're supposed to be really cool, really fashionable, really edgy. But a huge part of the way riize was marketed is that they're just kind of normal guys. They have like a very unflashy Instagram. And this is where things get kind of weirdly ironic, because despite presenting the group as just some dudes, Seunghan's greatest controversy, his biggest sin, the thing that these people are so mad at him for, is the fact that before he joined riize, he was just a normal guy. So it's very widely reported at this point that K-pop stars are often not treated like normal people. And it goes so far that even just them doing things like dating each other somehow turns into a controversy. I have this CNN article from a few years ago pointing out how like these 2 other group members got into a controversy over dating, scandals involving drinking, drugs, or even dating. These are all like heavily scrutinized and looked down upon. As for those other 2 members, Hyuna and Lee-dan, it says while they did suffer from coming forward about their relationship, they also saw a wave of support from a section of their fan base, which experts said is evidence of a gradual shift in attitudes, driven in part by a series of revelations about the tight controls and grueling work schedules in K-pop, etc. And again, this article is like 6 years old. I believe at this point, the dark side of K-pop has been done to death. We know it's like this, but it turns out those attitudes were not shifting quickly enough. So I am not going to show you the photos that sparked everything because they were leaked. But basically, imagery was released showing Seunghan kissing a woman. Other pictures showed him smoking cigarettes, and I promise you, that is it. Like, people tried to connect dots and spin it into this whole big controversy, but literally the core of this issue is that before this guy was ever actually in his group, riize, back when he was 19 years old or younger, he was seen smoking a cigarette and kissing somebody, so presumably in a relationship. The kinds of things that in no sane world could ever be considered a scandal, but yet here we were. The backlash that he was getting for people finding out that he actually had a life before the band was so extreme that he had to put out an official apology. I'm getting this translation from Soompi, and he basically said, "I sincerely apologize. Due to my personal issues, I caused harm to the team at a very important and critical moment ahead of our debut, and I disappointed the members and staff. He also apologized for not apologizing soon enough due to anxiety, and he said, from now on, I will prioritize the team. I will behave more carefully. This is honestly terrible. Literally badgering somebody into apologizing for nothing is really painful to watch. But no, he said, I will do my best so that you can feel my sincerity towards the team and fans through my actions. I apologize once again. This might single-handedly be the least necessary apology I have ever seen. And I'm not blaming him for making it. It's just the fact that he had to make it is insane. And surprise, surprise, that apology did absolutely nothing to stop people from overreacting. Mostly because the people he was apologizing to were already so unreasonable. No logical person is going to get upset over a teenager doing teenager things. So the vitriol did not subside. And SM Entertainment put out a statement saying that he would actually be taking a hiatus. So as Wikipedia outlines, SM Entertainment is one of the largest entertainment companies in South Korea, and they're tied to a lot of enormous names in the K-pop world. A lot of people are very upset with the way SM Entertainment handled this, and I agree with them. As you're going to see, SM seriously drops the ball here. So in their statement, they actually blamed him for this. Seunghan is feeling severely apologetic and is reflecting on himself for causing disappointment and commotion to not only the team and the members, but also to fans due to issues regarding his personal life that are being leaked and circulated recently via social media and online communities. Opening this statement by criticizing Seunghan before you actually criticize the leakers? How is this even real at this point? Seunghan feels mental pressure and responsibility, so after deep contemplation, he relayed his intention to halt activities for the team. We also judged that it is too difficult for him to continue activities through this situation, and respecting his opinion of no longer wanting to cause harm to the team and members, we decided on the indefinite suspension of his activities. So they basically said riize will now be a 6-member group. They then, after that, said, oh yeah, by the way guys, leaks are bad. Individuals who are leaking and circulating these videos and photos are even using malicious means of creating groundless false information. Yeah, maybe you could have led with that, but at the very least, they said they would consider legal action against the cyber crimes and threats, which we're going to get into in a second here. Unfortunately, some of these threats did not remain in the cyber realm, but they ended it by saying, we will continue to do our best for the protection of our agency's artists. Thank you. Yeah, I think you guys can get rid of the artists part. It's giving protection of your agency. But anyway, even just in the comment section of the Soompi article, people are like, this whole thing is so annoying. He's getting canceled for doing normal teen things. Bro just debuted and now he's on hiatus. What he did was just what some teenagers did. Now, that was last year. And I guess the silver lining for many riize fans or people who like Seunghan was that he wasn't technically dropped. This was a hiatus. So there was always the opportunity for him to come back. But nevertheless, riize did continue to perform without him. You can see on this Wikipedia chart, he was there for their first release, but then right here, where it turns gray, he stopped working with the group, but they put out a couple more projects. So for over a year, the story just kind of existed in limbo. Would Seunghan come back? Who knows? riize was just 6 members. Seunghan was of course referenced within the fandom, and there were a great many people who wanted him to come back. So you can imagine their surprise actually, when just a couple weeks ago, it was announced that Seunghan would be returning to riize. We would like to cautiously make a statement regarding members Seunghan's return. Seunghan acknowledges that his past actions were wrong. God, we're still blaming him. And he has currently halted activities for nearly a year while deeply reflecting and feeling apologetic to the other members and his fans. The other members, by the way, were not even mad at him. One of them released a whole statement about it, as you'll see. But yeah, they really wanted to drive home that Seunghan's past actions were not appropriate as an artist, which is insane because he did not do them while he was an artist. Anyway, they acknowledged that Seunghan fans were kind of in limbo this whole time, and we empathize with those feelings. And they decided that Seunghan will be returning to the group. They wanted to kind of gradually tie him back into it, starting next month actually, in November. So even though aspects of this were obviously still ridiculous, it was still good news. A lot of people online were very psyched about this. You've got people on the K-pop subreddit saying, we missed you, welcome back. Roller coaster of emotions right now. Like, these fans were honestly going through it because they had actually just dealt with false reports that he was leaving permanently. This like fabricated news article ran and people were very concerned. But no, people got their happy ending. Or at least those people got their happy ending. Not just on Reddit, but like Twitter, even once again in the Soompi comments. I can't believe it. I'm glad he's back. Finally, I'm so happy I'm in tears. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. His scandal was just dating and kissing his girlfriend and smoking underage. And yeah, I honestly feel like that point can never be reiterated enough. Yes, this was the only thing he actually did. And yet, the people who were mad about this, they were now angrier than ever because they had just been shown that they actually have no power. You can't just bully somebody out of a group because you don't like what they did, especially when they did nothing wrong. So instead of just, I don't know, burning their riize CDs like people used to do, they were like, you know what? Let's just skip to the death threats. So this is really messed up. But outside of SM Entertainment's building, people ordered and placed funeral wreaths. I'm not even really sure how I'm supposed to react to this, but yeah, they basically staged it to look as if Seunghan had died. And I mean, if this can't be interpreted as a death threat, I genuinely don't know what can. And I mean, besides this, people were also just sending literal actual death threats. I don't know what could possess somebody to act like this, because at this point, it's not even about K-pop. It's not about fandom or anything. This is just ugliness. This is insane bullying. You can even see right here, this one says riize is 6. So I mean, the implications here are just absurd. The artist Jay Park, who actually used to be in the industry, he was signed to JYP Entertainment, which is another big South Korean media group. He called this out very well, actually. He said the funeral flowers were disgusting. The same people who sent them will be the first ones online mourning the tragic outcome they fought for. God forbid tragedy occurs, but I've been on that side before and it was close. I can't imagine the trauma it would cause someone that young. Yeah, 21, you're a fully grown man, and that's true, but I bring up people's age to say that they're responsible for things when they have committed wrongdoing. This man has done literally nothing, and he is very, very, very young. I, at my big age of 26, can't imagine going through this now, let alone then. Jay said anyone involved in the flowers should be tried for attempted murder because that is what that was. And this is a strongly worded statement, but I don't care. I agree. I know what he's saying here. To want someone dead because they got back in a K-pop group and you're mad about it, you shouldn't even be allowed to be called a fan at that point. Again, as I showed you, most of the people I was running into were very happy to see Seunghan rejoin riize. So this isn't a case of like, oh my god, all K-pop, no. But when you have reasonable K-pop fans, even if they're the majority, how are you competing with people sending hundreds of funeral wreaths in real life? It's just a really disgusting situation. And so that's why I'm not entirely surprised that just 2 days later, he's out of the group permanently. This isn't a hiatus. This isn't the same thing as last time. And I'm sorry, but this is a disgusting statement. After the announcement of his return, we ruminated carefully on each and every one of the opinions and responses sent in by fans, and we realized that our decision had actually hurt fans more and caused them greater confusion instead. Why in the world would you validate these people? We hear you. It's not something you want to be saying to people who are sending your artists death threats. I'm sorry, this company is literally insane. At the same time, they're making sure everyone knows this is Seunghan's decision though. They say he consistently expressed desire to leave the group for the sake of the members and the fans, and out of respect for his decision, they're announcing his departure from riize. And yeah, I hate this. To make a statement and not even acknowledge the threats that he was getting is really just disgusting behavior. And as people pointed out on Twitter, the timing of this is just crazy. Announcing his return and then 2 days later announcing his permanent departure. Surely this could have been handled better than that. So fans of the group, you know, actual fans of the group, they started this petition, which got such a big response that change.org actually acknowledged it. As of today, it actually passed 300,000 signatures. And it's basically people saying like, hey, yo, Seunghan did nothing. Let him back in the group. You know, he worked really hard to get there. As they accurately say, him getting dropped is due to fans opposing him joining back, wanting riize to be a 6-member group, and nothing more. Days after all this, SM Entertainment put out a separate statement, and they're basically like, yeah, guys, stop harassing our members. We're gonna do something about it. But I mean, obviously, this was too little too late. If you look at how people are reacting on Reddit, they're like 10 months late. So much of this could have been avoided if they stood by Seunghan and protected him in the first place. They should have been doing this since the first leaks came out, before riize even debuted. 2 out of 10 damage control should have done this 10 months ago. Like, honestly, you can't present yourself as for the artists. It's literally just too late. The story is over now. And this isn't a happy ending for anybody. So Wonbin, another member of riize, he had put out a statement before Seunghan was dropped permanently, and he said that the other members, Seunghan and SM Entertainment, were in talks for a long time before they decided to bring him back. So SM presenting this as like, oh guys, he just wanted to leave. We're just respecting his decision. Honestly, maybe he did want to leave, but I think it's probably more accurate to say he just wanted to do his job. Of course, nobody wants to get death threats. He shouldn't have had to have wanted to leave, if that makes sense. Things never should have been allowed to get to this point. But yeah, this isn't good for their members. This isn't good for Seunghan. This isn't good for their fans. This is only really good for one group of people. I really like the way this one Reddit commenter summed it up. Going back on something like this only allows for fans to become more comfortable with being obsessive and manipulative than before. I'm sick of people thinking it's okay to ruin someone's life and the company's letting it happen over and over again. So there you have it. People are extremely upset over this. I think it makes perfect sense to be. And like I said, they've been working hard to try to get people aware of this. Interestingly, as I was doing my last bit of research, NBC News just dropped a whole article about it, but this is actually the first mainstream outlet I've seen cover it. So hopefully that leads to more people doing research, finding out about this. But yeah, I get it. I get why people hate this. I hate it too. Also, by the way, if you are like a K-pop K-pop fan and you really follow this, please let me know how I did with this story. What with there being such limited coverage, a lot of this was spread out over a lot of places, but I really did my best to like respect the story, get it all right. So please let me know what you thought about this, because I think it's an important story. Honestly, my opinion is, even though it shouldn't have happened, maybe there's like a weird positive in the fact that he's no longer with this group. I just really hope he can achieve his dream of like wanting to perform and be a performer outside of this weird box, because really nobody would deserve this anyway. But again, he was literally smoking, kissing a girl, being 19. I can't. But that's my take on the situation. Dave's take on the situation is that maybe if you stan Luna, this wouldn't have happened. I've tried to explain this is an unhinged response, but it's okay. And I'm of course excited to hear your take. I mean, this is the part of the video where a layman would ask you to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment, but I will ask you to enroll, evaluate the video, and submit your feedback. Because I'm of course running a 100% completely, totally, all the way, okay, maybe not really, somewhat unaccredited university. Probably. Just ask anybody in the student body and they'll confirm it for you. We're totally legit. And as for me, whether you'll see me in 24 hours or 24 months is honestly anyone's guess, but until then, thanks for watching. Your homework for today is to leave a nice comment somewhere on the internet. Try to balance out all of this insanity.